I'm not extraordinary. You don't get off the hook. You don't get to be let off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make one more extraordinary decision.
And let it be the daily nutrition that drives and feeds you. Your why, your purpose, your reason, your calling, your passion, your true destiny, your mission.
There isn't any of us that can't get better. So turn on this whole idea of personal development and personal growth. That was what my teacher shared with me that changed my life.
It's time to run for your life, pushing with everything that inside you, running towards an opportunity. Running towards a victory, as hard as you can, this is the reality of it. Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. The work is going to come before the belief. Every single moment of every single day has a massive impact on where you ultimately end up. Success doesn't know these things about cold or early or retired, it just knows if you showed up or not. The hardest thing to do is start moving, engaging. You can't stay in one place and expect. To get to the next place, I'm talking to the one that really wants to take it to that level that no one has ever been.
I've come a long way, but I have a long way to go. I'm on a journey where I've come a long way, but I still have a vision that I have to reach for. And as I'm going on this journey, I'm realizing that there are a few things that are absolutely imperative to keep in mind. Number one, you can't do it alone. Nothing that you're after can be really done alone. You have to understand who is on your team, who is a part of your team, how are you contributing and adding value to their lives, and how are they contributing and adding value to yours? Who are you sacrificing for? Because if they're not there, I promise you that reward will feel so empty. Number two is, what sacrifices are you going to make? Dreams require sacrifice. Oftentimes it requires time spent alone, time spent doing something that you never thought. This is before my first TEDx talk. I used to walk in the park by myself and give talks over and over again.
And let that energize your heart to beat in perfect harmony like a phenomenal marching band. Because remember, it's the pressure that creates diamonds that glisten. So please lock in with me and listen. Life will not stop and wait for your weeping willow moment. So get up and get on it, because the weak will struggle. Success is reserved for those that are the strongest. As long as you got air in your lungs, you have an opportunity to improve your current situation. So human up, accept the challenge, change your associations, and soon you will find yourself receiving accolades and congratulations. But first you gotta say I do to the new you.
Imagining what the crowd would look like, who I wanted to be on that stage. This was a year before I ever started speaking. And while I'm not saying I'm far on the journey now, I just understand that there are going to be sacrifices that need to be made as you go on your journey. My question for you right now is, as you're on your journey, what sacrifices are you intentionally making? Where are you going, and what are the things that you're saying, you know what, if I cut this out and I cut this out and I add this in and I add this in, I develop this habit and I cut this habit, I will grow into the person that I'm supposed to become. What are those things for you? Have you identified those? And last but not least, what is the legacy that you're trying to leave behind? This word legacy is interesting because oftentimes it's spoken by those who are 50, 60, 70. Like, society has put it in a situation where we're only supposed to think about legacy at the end of our lives. I think legacy is something that you do every single day. How do you walk in your legacy? Meaning, what are you leaving behind? What impression are you leaving on the people who are around you? How are you moving and operating in a way where someone understands what you stand for and who you are now? What is your legacy? You're walking in it. It's not something that you build at the end of your life. It's something that you're doing right now. We are on the journey of becoming, so never be scared of answering the question and tackling the question and grappling with the question, the frustrating question, the question that might not have an answer right now.
And commit to a lifetime of small wins that at times will seem meaningless and pointless. But living life with no meaning and never figuring out your purpose and just wandering through your existence is the true meaning of pointless. So say I do and commit to becoming an honor roll student. Say I do and commit to start that new business that nobody but you believes in, because you can do it. I know it's a bumpy ride, but you're still alive. Say I do and commit to leaving behind anybody in your circle that brings negative energy into your equation.
I believe that success is measured by a person's happiness, not their achievements or their bank account. Do you guys actually have any idea how lucky you are? Seriously, put this into perspective. Everywhere you look, there are people just moaning, forgetting, and taking for granted that they are alive.
Y'all running from pain, you're running from challenges. Telling me how difficult your life is, do you understand it as the difficulty that's going to prepare you and take you to that next level? Are you prepared to push? Are you prepared to work? Are you prepared to dig? They hope the instructors will stop running. They hope the water was never cold. They hope the weather was good. I don't live off that hopes. I wish the water was cold. I wish that mother instructions keep on running. I wish the rain when the ending is unknown and the distance is unknown. That's what you know. Who you are, we're moments away. Every day from a decision that's going to completely change our life, only the discipline once. Are free in life, people. Why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat it, or I hate, but to the whole, that's a life, man. And that wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. You got to understand.
I'm telling you, for things to get better, you got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Don't ask for better seed, better soil. This is the only planet you got. Just ask that you can get wiser and stronger and better and be able to take care of your own responsibilities. Get better. Learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Number one, learn how to handle the winters. There's all kinds of winters. The winter when you can't figure it out, the winter when it all goes wrong, the winters of your life. Social winters, political winters that we're going through around the world. The economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days. Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long.
Some days are going to be slow, and some days you just got to be fast. But make sure when you're running, you got that mindset in the right place. Don't be reckless, be productive in it, and understand that it means something. Recognize your beliefs. Recognize your drive. Don't concern yourself with things that doesn't concern your best, because if you're not giving your best, then the rest will catch up to you, so stay ahead of the pack. And don't slack, because it will only push you back. Continue the journey and keep your eyes on the prize. Your rewards are waiting for you. You don't want to be the slowest one in the front.
So 3 times a day, you do not, I wake up, I promise you again, you do not have a say. You do not have a viewpoint. The only viewpoint you have is for Eric. You told yourself to get up at 3, it's 3, get your butt up. You cannot tell nobody else to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't tell nobody else how they need to grind. They grind look like they grind. You can't tell nobody, you need to get up early. Maybe they don't, who knows? You know what you need to do, you gotta have a say for you. I don't have a say about what my kids do no more. That's up to them. They will deal with the consequences of every decision they make. And guess what? When they head get bust up against the wall, guess who they're gonna come to and that's when I can get my view. When you put your energy and focus on what you don't have, when you put it on fears, when you're doing all the negative, I could still be negative with my wife right now. I took ownership.
It is simply called winter time. But here's what you've got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life, the challenges that I know I'm going to face? Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better. Just make a list of that trio of words. Wiser, stronger, better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Next, get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, and personality, The ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens.
Like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I solve problems. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I solve them. So here go another problem. We get into it about stuff that don't even make sense because I got a view, she got a view. I love it. I asked my daughter, I was like, Jada, for real, what you think, how do you, my daughter was like, Dad, Mom got a view and she a high D. She got a strong view. You ain't about to change her. And you got a view. And that's the problem. She got a view, you got a view. So I looked at it as when you go, Carl, can you go back to the graph? I want to show y'all something. This is why this thing is so deep, right? Now, when you go back to this graph, that's my wife, 99.99. My wife is a high D and a high C. As a high D and as a high C, what you'll learn about my wife is that she's not even wired to change. Now, hear me, I'm telling you, when I study, I study. My wife does not have the capacity as a D to change. What actually makes her strong is that she does not change. That's her strength. So why am I asking her to change when my wife ain't even the one that like to do assessments? She's like, I don't need none of that junk, I'm sweet.